The Coach Kevin McMillan Show is brought to you by BSN Sports. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Coach Kevin McMillan Show. I'm Chris Brinkley. Coach, I watched the last 3 shows, and I had worn the same pullover on every show, so I decided to wear something different for this show.
You look very nice today.
Well,
I like that tie.
Yeah. Coach, you had a big senior day. Austin Peay was the opponent. It was a Saturday at the Elam Center. It was an emotional day. How was it for you and the seniors?
Well, it's not going to sink in for another few weeks, but you know, you don't ever want to think that that's the last time that you're going to be on that floor. You kind of don't really think it's real. But I thought it was very nice for the seniors and their families. I was pretty much okay until my wife was crying, and that kind of got everybody got me a little torn up. But you know, a good day for Tabitha and Megan and Jasmine and Heather, and you know, just a good crowd here to honor them, and then the game was spectacular.
Oh,
so
amazing.
From their standpoint, so a good overall day. But I think that, you know, I think those kids are focused more on finishing their season strong, and so I don't think that will really soak in. But it was a great day.
It's different when you know you're going to the tournament and you have more games ahead of you, and they're not too far away.
Right, and they know that everything starts to mean something a lot more now. You know, not that game wasn't big for them and important to them. It's just that every potential game now going forward can end your season. Do
you remember your final game of your college career?
College, vaguely, a little bit. High school was in a tournament, so you kind of remember that.
Yeah.
But not. I'm getting old. There's a lot of games between here and there. So.
Well, you know, you're right. Most athletes, when their college career is over, they go on to do other things. You've stayed in basketball. I mean, if we calculated every game you've seen and participated in from the time you were out in middle school, that's a lot of basketball.
It'd be a lot of basketball. But I do. I remember the locker room after my last high school game, and then I just remember a little bit of the last college game, kind of the ending. And but besides that, you know, everything starts to run together.
Coach, let's talk about the Austin Peay game. It was fitting that your seniors had a spectacular night. You broke many records. Most points ever scored in UT Martin women's basketball, 116. Heather Butler hit 44 on her last game at the Elam Center, which tied her own record and Jasmine's record. Plus, Jasmine had 14 assists. That was a school record.
You know, I'd love to look back at this and talk about it more, but would you have expected anything different from those kids in their last game? I mean, to break 3 or 4 records, or tie and break 3 or 4 records is very fitting for those guys. And you know, Jasmine with 25 points and 14 assists. You know, Jasmine quietly had 25 points and 14 assists. I mean, that's just phenomenal. And it's just another tribute to what those kids have done for us, and it was just an explosion from us offensively.
Otherwise, Asia Jones was 16 points, and she had 6 rebounds. She was solid. And I thought a lot of players played well in that game.
Yeah, we got some contribution from a lot of different kids. I thought Elizabeth Massengill had a solid game. She had 5 assists in 14 minutes, and Tierra played solid during one stretch that we're going to need from her. And Charisma Tyson came in the first half and hit 2 big shots to really kind of push it out, because they were playing really well in the first half against us, and we needed some offense there, and Charisma gave us a couple shots, and Shay was playing hard and had a good overall game. So, you know, we got some contribution from a lot of kids, and it's going to take that if we want to keep playing much longer.
Regular season behind you, you win that 116-85, finishing 15-1 in the Ohio Valley Conference. That's solid, Coach.
Yeah, it was a great conference season for us. You know, our kids were able to maintain their focus pretty much throughout the year. You know, I think that you know, you hate that doesn't make any difference now, but that's just the way the tournaments go, March Madness, so to speak. And now our kids have got to take all that, put it in the vault, and say, okay, now what do we got to do? Because you know, as we speak, the tournament has started and their team's playing, and it's anybody's tournament now.
No doubt. And, you know, when I look back at the conference season at 15-1, if you look at some of those scores, you go, well, they had an easy ride through the OVC. Well, if you were a part of all those games or saw all those games, there were some ups and downs in there, even though some of those final scores looked like you won a lot of games by a lot of points.
Yeah, teams did some things during the game that would bother us. It's just what we were able to do was overcome that and stretch out and make it our game. Well, all a team has to do is not let that happen and hold it into their world. And if they do, they can cause us a lot of problems. We're not big. We don't rebound exceptionally well. We're deep depending upon the night. So foul trouble could bother us some nights. So there's a lot of things going in here that are going to be issues. The key is, can we play one more game like we've been playing with the effort level where it's supposed to be? And then hopefully if you win that one, you play one more game. It's just we're in that mode now where it's just talking about, okay, what is this game? Because this is what matters. This is all that matters now. And, if you really look at our lineup, we've got a very young group heading to the tournament. This is the youngest team that we've taken up there since Butler and Newsom and Megan White were freshmen.
Right.
So, I mean, we're starting 2 seniors, a sophomore, 2 freshmen, and bringing 2 freshmen, a junior, and a senior off the bench. That's kind of our 8 or 9. Well, that's probably one of the youngest teams that we've ever had up there. So we've got some challenges as we go forward.
It is phenomenal how mature some of your underclassmen appear. How much do Heather Butler and Jasmine Newsom and Megan White have to do with the maturity of the younger players?
Well, I think quite a bit, because they're such a crutch that you can lean on if you need to. I mean, if I get in trouble, I just give the ball to Butler and Newsom, and everybody can relax. And a lot of teams don't have that, and so that's probably allowed our kids to grow up some. And I think that Butler and Newsom and Megan have been great leaders for that throughout the years. Just again, now it matters, and so hopefully we're going to be able to do it for another ball game.
Okay, we'll take a break. We'll come back and talk about the OVC honors and the OVC tournament when we return on the Coach Kevin McMillan Show.
At this time, we would like to thank our basketball corporate donors. Carey Insurance, Dynamix, Parker Hannafin, State Farm, Surgical Associates of Martin, Vance Institutional Pharmacy, Walmart.
Back with Coach Kevin McMillan on the Coach's Show. Coach, let's talk about the Ohio Valley Conference honors. Congratulations to Heather Butler, Asia Jones, and Jasmine Newsom. Heather's the OVC Player of the Year. Jasmine was the Defensive Player of the Year, and Asia's the Freshman of the Year.
I mean, that's a great tribute to those 2 kids. And, going out, the 2 seniors have kind of swept the award, so to speak, for the last 4 years. So it's nice to see them getting some more awards. Both of them were first team All OVC, and Asia was also second team. So again, a great tribute to those 3 kids. And the neat thing about them is that none of them care about all that stuff, which is why they keep getting it, and which is what we try to preach to people. And they're great ambassadors for our university off the floor, on the floor, in the community, and it's just a tribute to all of them, and that they're bringing more notoriety to our university.
Coach, let's talk about some of the other first-team members, and there were 3 along with Heather and Jasmine. Marie Carpenter, who's at Eastern Kentucky, and I know that you recruited her.
Yes, she came down to us in Eastern Kentucky and has had a great career up there, and a phenomenal athlete who we may have to play again here in a couple of days.
Diamond Henderson at Tennessee Tech.
Another phenomenal guard, has had a great career at Tech. I think she's a junior, and you'll have another year for her in the OVC next year.
And then Jordan Luffman at Belmont also made first team.
And Jordan was had talked about transferring here when she was leaving Middle Tennessee. So she's also done a great job at Belmont and has led them, and it's an good honor for her to get recognized.
And I know that your goal is to compete against these players, but you have the utmost respect for their ability also.
Oh yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, somebody's going to win a game, somebody's going to lose a game, and when the game's over, it's over. And those kids have prepared and worked just as hard as your kids have prepared and worked, and everybody's given everything they've got for it, and so I have a tremendous amount of respect for what these young ladies have to do, not only on the court but in the classroom, trying to balance all of that stuff, and I appreciate the competition between us and them throughout the years. And there are a lot of kids that we've battled for 4 years in the OVC that it's been an honor to get to play against them because they give you everything they got every time, and it's fun.
And you know, and even the teams that are in the middle of the pack or not winning a lot of games, they work just as much as you do.
Oh, they do, and we've been in that situation before, and you know, I just think that you don't need to lose perspective about the game. I mean, it's a game. I don't think there's probably anybody in the OVC that's been beaten worse than I have as a coach, because I've coached 4th grade AAU and got beat 64-3.
Whoa!
But our kids were excited after that game because we scored. I mean, you just need to keep everything in perspective. You know, there's a lot of issues and a lot of things going on in people's lives that are a lot more important than the game. So as long as you keep the focus on that game and then honor the people around it and try to do things right, and I'm not saying we do, we try, then you can create relationships that are going to extend beyond basketball.
Right. Coach, you play Friday. You've got on the schedule Friday at noon at the Municipal Auditorium. Now you get a double bye all the way to the semifinals. We've talked about this some. The OVC bracket is a little bit different than some of the other brackets where you're rewarded, but in some ways it could be a negative.
Well, it's just different. They went to this because you know, we're a one-bid league, and our RPI as a league is very, very low. And so what they were trying to do was trying to get our best teams to make it to the NCAA tournament to maybe get out of the 16 hole. And so they created this where there's double byes if you're a 1 or a 2 seed. Is it good? I don't know. You can argue either way,
right?
You know,
right.
because we have won the tournament out of the 1 seed, the 2 seed, and the 4 or 5 seed.
Yeah.
So we've been in every spot except the one where you have to play 4 games in 4 days. I understand what they're doing. I don't necessarily think it's the best thing for the conference overall, but it is what it is, and you have to be able to play. You know, if you can't win, whatever there's the scenario.
Right.
That's what we have to deal with. If
right.
we get beat, you know, we couldn't handle what was thrown in front of us, and
right.
I don't think there's, you know, it's kind of like Coach Russell's always said, and I've kind of adopted his philosophy. You know, when you get to this point in the season, it doesn't make any difference. You know, teams talk about, well, we need this draw, or we need to play that team, or we need this. No, you don't. You're going to have to beat good people. You're going to have to beat them over and over and over. So you might as well line them up and put them up there. And if you can't win, you can't win, and go work and get better.
Right.
You can't. If your focus becomes, well, we need this draw, or we hope that opponent's here, we want this. Well, you're taking your focus off of what it needs to be, which is on your team and doing the things that you need to do to win a basketball game. And you know, again, we're back to perspective. If you keep the perspective of, well, this is our team, this is what we need to do, it doesn't matter who we're playing. If they beat us, we didn't deserve to win, so don't worry about it. And you know, that if you can keep that focus and your team goes into the game thinking, this is what we have to do in this basketball game, and make them, I hope this is not a cliche, in the moment type thing where we've got to play this basketball game, then you've got a better chance to keep playing on. If you start worrying about where you're going to go or who this is or what that, your focus gets off of it, you get a little scattered and you get beat.
I've even mentioned in 3 years ago, I guess, when we were there, after your team would win a game, you just walked off the floor. Some of the other teams would celebrate a little bit, and it's a very focused, matter-of-fact attitude to get the job done.
Well, you know, there's a time to celebrate, and the time to celebrate, and I hate to say this as a coach, and it's why coaching is really hard. You celebrate after it's all over. The fans get to celebrate along the way. The players get some celebration along the way. Well, the coach gets to celebrate after it's all over. Well, after it's all over, it's over. And so it's difficult, but you have to keep going with what you're doing. You have to keep your focus in on what's our next job, what do we have to do next. And if you do that, it gives us a better chance of going on. Again, not the right way. It's just what's giving us a better chance.
We don't have a lot of time. You don't know who you're going to play Friday. You have 3 possibilities right now as we film this show. How do you scout for something like that? You look at all the potential opponents?
You get all your scouting reports for the 3. One will be eliminated today, and then so you kind of don't worry about that one as much. But as soon as this afternoon, as we're filming this, it hits about 2 o'clock, we'll know who 2 of them are. And so we'll take all the stuff on those 2 teams and then everything on the 3 that are left on the other side when we head up tomorrow. And you just prepare for whatever team will be there. But again, you try to keep the focus on what you have to do and the way that the bar that you want set. and not worry as much about everybody else.
Prior to being a coach at UT Martin, you were a very successful high school coach. You would play teams in a high school tournament that you'd never seen before.
Yeah, and that was very difficult because you had no idea, watching them on film, quickness, speed, height, it's just not the same thing as seeing them in person, so a lot different. So, going into this, we've got a much better idea. And so you
appreciate that now.
Your kids
right?
know what they're getting into. But the flip is true to the other team. They know exactly. They've played you.
True.
They've seen you. They know what you have to do. If you beat them once or you beat them twice, they're sitting there going, okay, that didn't work. That didn't work. So we got to do this time. Well, if you beat them, then you're not doing that. You're saying, okay, we beat them, so we're going to go out and do that again. Well, if they change on you, you got to be ready to adjust. So you watch games and see what other things they've done to see what they could throw at you that they haven't. But again, that's the chess match, but once the ball goes up,
is fatigue a factor? I mean, some coaches will say some teams have to play 3 or 4 games in 3 or 4 days. How hard is that?
Well, we played 3 last year, and they were all tight and all down to the wire, and I think it probably is a factor. But once you get to a point in every game, your adrenaline's going to kick in, and it's going to push you probably farther than you could have gone. So I don't think in an OVC tournament for the chance to go to the NCAA tournament that fatigue will be a major factor. I wouldn't believe it would be, but it could be.
And final thoughts, Coach. What have we done to get where we are now? And of that, what do you want to do in this tournament from a basketball standpoint?
Well, I think we've answered some questions. We've got some post play now from Asia Jones that we were desperately needing. We've got some depth right now. I think our kids know what we have to do to win basketball games. I think the effort level that we have to give they know if we give it, we've got a good chance, and if we don't give it, we don't have a good chance. And I think that we've got to take that exact thing, take from these 16-game conference, these 16 games in the conference, and take that to the tournament and go, look, this is what we have to do. And I don't mean to make it that simple, but it is that simple.
Yeah.
If we come out there and we play hard and we do what things we're supposed to do, we've got a good chance to win. And if we go out there and do that, and somebody beats us, I'm going to shake their hands, and we're going to go and say, okay, we got to get better. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to play down, not play good, have mistakes, have whatever, and not play your best game at this time of the year.
Oh, yeah.
All you want right now is we're going to play our best game of the year. Let the other team play their best game, and whoever wins, wins.
And that's where the cliche comes, leave it all on the floor.
Yeah. You want to do that until you play Notre Dame, then you hope they don't play well. But by and large, that's all we're focusing on right now. Is we just want to be the best team that we can be, and we want to leave on the floor the best basketball team that we can be, and we're fortunate to have that opportunity one more time.
Okay, that's Coach Kevin McMillan. I'm Chris Brinkley.
The Coach Kevin McMillan Show is brought to you by BSN Sports. Thank you for your support of UT Martin basketball.